Have you checked the price of silver lately? It's not just shining, it's absolutely exploding. Silver prices just smashed through all-time highs, crossing the $79 per ounce mark for the very first time. Imagine this. In just one trading session, it jumped over 5%. In a single week, it soared more than 11%. To put that in perspective, silver is currently leaving gold and other precious metals in the dust. So, what's causing this incredible rally? Well, part of it was the timing. This happened during the year-end, a period known for thin liquidity, which means any big moves get seriously amplified. While silver was stealing the show, gold was also making steady gains, with spot prices climbing above $4,500 per ounce. Platinum and palladium weren't left out either. They both posted solid weekly gains. But the real driver, the one everyone in the market is obsessed with, is what's happening with the U.S. Federal Reserve. The big story is monetary policy. Right now, the market is betting heavily on at least 2 interest rate cuts from the U.S. next year. When the expectation of rate cuts gets stronger, bond yields go down. This is fantastic news for assets like silver and gold because they don't pay any interest. A lower yield on bonds makes these non-yielding precious metals much more attractive to investors. Now, here's something interesting about silver. Analysts often point out that silver is like gold's more energetic, more volatile younger sibling. It tends to react much faster and more dramatically than gold to any shifts in interest rate expectations. This means it can be a bumpier ride, but during big market rallies driven by these macroeconomic factors, silver often provides a much bigger bang for your buck. It's more responsive, and we are seeing that play out right now. However, this isn't just a story about interest rates and financial markets. There's a massive fundamental issue brewing beneath the surface, and it's all about supply and demand. The global silver market has been in what's called a structural deficit for several years now. This means we're using more silver than we're mining and producing, year after year. The current annual shortfall is already estimated at a staggering 2,500 tons. That's a huge gap. And here's the kicker. Some analysts are sounding the alarm that this deficit could get much, much worse. They're warning that the shortfall could more than double to over 5,000 tons if supply chains face more disruptions. That's a terrifying prospect for industries that rely on it, but it's a very powerful catalyst for higher prices. One of the biggest potential disruptions is coming from China. China is the world's second-largest silver producer, and they've announced plans that could shake up the entire global market. Starting in 2026, they intend to introduce new export licensing rules. These rules would restrict overseas shipments of silver to only large, state-approved companies. Why are they doing this? The goal is to keep more of their domestically produced silver for their own industries. Think about it. Silver is a critical component in manufacturing solar panels, electronics, electric vehicles, and countless other high-tech products. China wants to secure its supply for its own massive industrial and green energy ambitions. While that makes sense from their perspective, it could put a major squeeze on the rest of the world, further tightening an already tight global supply. At the exact same time that supply is getting constrained, physical demand for silver is absolutely surging. Let's look at India, a country with a long and deep cultural affinity for silver. In just 2 months, September and October, India imported over 2,600 tons of physical silver. That's an immense amount, showing just how strong the appetite is. This isn't just happening in one part of the world. We're getting reports of physical shortages from all corners of the globe. The Royal Canadian Mint and the U.S. Mint, 2 of the most respected mints in the world, have reportedly run out of certain silver coins and bars, at times struggling to keep up with the overwhelming demand from investors and collectors. When you can't even buy the physical metal from the people who make it, you know the situation is serious. And it's not just individual investors and industrial users who are bullish. The big players, the institutional giants, are also making major moves that are reinforcing this positive sentiment. One of the most talked about moves involves the massive bank, J.P. Morgan. Between June and October, they made a huge strategic shift. They completely exited their short positions in silver, which totaled a colossal 200 million ounces. A short position is basically a bet that the price will go down, so closing it is a sign of confidence. But they didn't stop there. During that same period, they accumulated around 750 million ounces of physical silver. Let that sink in. This isn't a small trade. This is one of the world's most powerful financial institutions, making a multi-billion-dollar bet on the long-term value of physical silver. When a player like JP Morgan makes a move of this magnitude, the rest of the market takes notice. It's seen as a powerful vote of confidence in silver's fundamental strengths. So, what does the future hold? When you put all these pieces together, the outlook for silver looks incredibly strong. Analysts are pointing to a perfect storm of bullish factors. You have persistent supply shortages that are likely to get worse. You have roaring industrial demand, especially from the green energy and tech sectors. You have the strong expectation of interest rate cuts, which makes silver a more attractive investment. And on top of all that, you have ongoing geopolitical uncertainty, which always drives investors towards safe haven assets like precious metals. Of course, no market moves in a straight line forever. We should absolutely expect some short-term pullbacks and price corrections along the way. That's just the natural ebb and flow of any market, especially one as volatile as silver. But looking at the bigger picture, the broader trend for silver continues to point firmly upwards as we head into the coming months. The fundamental case is simply too compelling to ignore. It seems silver's time to shine has truly arrived. Thanks for watching. If you found this breakdown helpful, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the notification bell so you never miss an update on the markets. See you in the next video.